Welcome everybody to another episode of Candid Convos, and today's guest is John Cannon. John, thank you very much for joining us. Let our audience know who you are and the type of law firm and the type of work that you do out there.
Great. So I'm John Cannon, the founder of Cannon Associates in Oklahoma City. We're your fierce advocates for families and freedom. We help families facing the justice system as well as divorce across Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm. And John, what can you tell us about your law firm? How long have you been doing this?
So I went into private practice full-time in 2019. And in 2021, we're determined to be the fastest growing law firm in the United States, had just under 1,900% growth over a 3-year period. And I have 10 attorneys and a staff of about 30 employees.
Mm-hmm. John, I got to ask, how did you manage to accomplish that?
Just a great team, and just constant study every day of what can we do to get better at a specific element of the business, and been fortunate to gradually transition from a lawyer wearing every hat in the office all the way down to reception and intake to gradually delegating jobs and roles on and on and on to now primarily working on the business, not in the business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and hang on a second. So this entire journey started in 2019?
Yes, I was part-time in 2018 and then private practice full-time in 2019. So just about 4 years full-time.
Okay, so you've had an amazing growth. That tells me that you're clearly doing something right. Even if there's like hiccups and mistakes here and there, your growth speaks for itself. You wouldn't be able to handle, or well, you wouldn't be able to grow if you couldn't handle the caseload that you have. I'm wondering, what was it like for you going from those first steps? Because you said you used to wear all of the hats. So you used to do the intake, and now I'm wondering if you still do the legal work, or do you manage the entire firm and you have your attorneys doing the legal work for you? So that transition, I'm wondering, what was that like?
Yeah, so I can think back to a number of mindset shifts that I've had. I first was working part-time for the government in a role that allowed me to take on outside work, and had somebody that needed a lawyer in an area that I was versed in. I was like, okay, I can help you with that. And that grew into helping a few other people. And then I built a website and started hearing from people and helping more and more. It's like, maybe I can make enough money to be in private practice, because then I'd be my own boss. And so I stepped out, which was scary, and started answering the phones and meeting with potential clients and getting hired and getting results for clients. And then that grew to more phone calls and more phone calls. And at some point I couldn't do it all. So I hired a receptionist, which was scary, and then couldn't do it all and hired a lawyer and a paralegal. And it just, every quarter, every year, there's some new mindset shift. I never imagined that we would grow to where we're at now, but I think we can continue to grow. And so I think, at this point, I'm trying to provide support and training to the entire staff, but I principally work with and manage our internal leaders so that they can manage and supervise the people that work with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so clearly you've clearly stepped into the leadership role into the law firm, which is pretty much taking a step back, looking at the big picture, and make sure that all the players are in the right position and that you can support them correctly so they can perform adequately. So did you always envision this as the leadership seat for yourself and your firm, or did you sort of grew into that? Maybe some coaching took place for that to happen as well. What was it like?
Yeah, it's definitely been a gradual growth. Like I said a moment ago, I initially just thought I would go out in private practice and hopefully make enough money to support my family as well as I did before, and hopefully a little bit better. And that's grown and grown. And, now we're supporting lots of families, the staff that work with us. And so it's been a very gradual shift in mindset. And, my responsibilities now are very different than when I went to court all of the time. I transitioned from representing clients and dealing with all of these different elements to now it's more, what can I do to strategically help the team this quarter, this year, and then step in on, the fires that pop up and the problems that pop up that I still fall into. And sometimes it's my fault that I get myself into an issue I shouldn't deal with, but it's just an everyday grind, just different. I had a coach once that said the following that I thought was brilliant, new level, new devil. There's never going to be a phase in your business where you don't have problems. It's just, at different levels, you have different types of problems.
Mhm. Well, that is, I. It's funny that you say that, because when you were talking about how you started expanding, you mentioned your fear of hiring your first receptionist. And now I know that you continue hiring different roles, different people. Like, you've grown into a big law firm. Do you still have the same fear, or is that, like you said, like, new goal, new devil? Have you surpassed it, and your fears are somewhat different when it comes to maybe hiring or a position specifically?
Yeah, the fears are definitely different. I mean, we have an organizational chart for where we're at currently and where we hope to get to, but each time we bring in somebody for a new role or expand some position, it's still a scary thing to think about having, a new role that we have to manage and understand well enough to, guide, lead, support somebody in a different position in the office. It's an unfortunate thing that turnover happens, but it's easier to replace somebody and help get them up to speed in an existing role than to bring on someone new in a new role that you have to get comfortable with. So still have problems and fears of hiring, finding people, but there's great services out there for each step of that process. I mean, Get Staffed Up is a great resource to find people internationally, to help them support your team. And there are other services to do that, with local talent. And hiring is a huge element of our business, and we always have people that we're trying to, recruit, like a coach or a GM of a sports club, and we're always trying to bring in good talent. So the recruiting, the retention, the hiring, the onboarding, that's a constant process for us, and I assume it always will be. And so it's just one of the elements we're trying to improve upon and continue to refine.
Well, if it is about telling a very compelling story, the story of your firm is very, very interesting, and it's very successful at this point where I see it, and I'm very curious to see where it's going to take you in the next 5 years, as you mentioned before, because you got great tactics. Sounds like you have an amazing team. You really know what you're doing, and people already know about this. You got a lot of results, meaning you can increment your potential exponentially if you want to. You just need to figure out where you want to do it, and I'm pretty sure that you're already aware of that as well. So I am very lucky to score an interview with someone like you, because this sheds a lot of light on the type of work that attorneys do and the type of work that you do. So thank you very much for sharing your story with us.
Yeah, that's very kind of you to say that. Thank you.
Well, John, before we let you go, because I want to be mindful of your schedule, can you please let our listeners know where they can find you and what you can do for them?
Yeah, so we're happy to either be a resource to people if they're an attorney that's trying to grow their firm, or if someone is in need of legal services, we'll gladly connect you to someone in our network if it's not something we can assist you with. Uh, we have offices in Oklahoma City and Edmond, Oklahoma. Our phone number is 405-657-2323. You can find us on our website, jpcannonlawfirm.com, our TikTok, our YouTube channel, Legal Cannon. Welcome any requests or any contacts, and anybody wants to get connected with us.
Well, John, again, thank you very much for joining us on today's episode. And I'm very happy that we got a chance to put you on the spotlight.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us today.